Damn, this thing is nice. That's a big tractor. Hey guys, how are you? David Franco here. DavidFranco.com. Yep, it's so big it just set off my Ring Video doorbell motion alerts. Anyway, today's video is all about the iPad Pro 10.5-inch model. In other words, the 2017 refresh. And I'm pretty sure some of you are wondering, and I know this because, well, you've asked me, is this worth upgrading from the previous iPad Pro models? Now keep in mind, first we had the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and then a little while after that, Apple released the 9.7-inch iPad Pro, which is basically the same thing, just a little smaller. Well, actually, it's not the exact same thing, because it had the True Tone display, which is a big deal with me. And then fast forwarding to today, now we have the 10.5-inch models and 12.9-inch models. So in other words, 9.7 no longer exists, at least on the Pro line. So in today's video, I'm going to go over the 7 things that I enjoy most about the 9.7-inch iPad Pro. And right here are my notes. So let's go over them. Number 1, and this is kind of obvious if you watched me, and excuse my nerdgasms ahead. Get ready. Put on that face protection. ProMotion display. In other words, the 120 Hz refresh rate. My God. Okay, so the first time I unboxed this iPad, I kind of felt like I was experiencing the transition from non-Retina to Retina, because there is that much of a difference going from a 60 Hz display to 120 Hz. And guys, let me tell you this, Apple, if you're watching, not that I have any say in your future product updates, but please incorporate ProMotion into all future Apple products that use a display of some sorts, whether it's an iPhone or an iPad or your displays, you know, your actual displays on your desks. We need 120 Hz moving forward, because it is that big of a deal. And I'm not just saying that as some kind of Apple fanboy, because let me tell you, when I go from using this to my 9.7 iPad Pro with a 60 Hz display, there is a massive drop in overall performance. Not in terms of like specs like the chip and the RAM or whatever, I'm just talking about the display in general. This is so much smoother. But of course, it does not stop there. iOS and ProMotion, they kind of work together. So you're only going to be using 120 Hz for fast moving content like videos and graphics and whatever. But when you're looking at like a static page, it actually drops down to 24 Hz. And I think that's pretty neat. So just check out ProMotion, take my word for it. And if you're not going to take my word for it, go to an Apple store, go to Best Buy. You need to experience ProMotion for yourself, because in my opinion, ProMotion alone makes the update worth it. But then again, I'm a tech geek, so maybe that doesn't matter to everyone. And that's fine. Number 2, premium design. Now, this is no secret. Apple is a design company. Like, they love good design, as do I. And thankfully, the iPad Pro continues to prove that. This is basically like last year's model, but better. The bezels are thinner. It still has a premium build. This does not feel cheap at all. And well, honestly, I put it on the list for that reason, because design is important to me. I cannot use an ugly product. That may sound so, what's the word, shallow of me, but it's the damn truth. I cannot stand a poorly designed product out there. And believe me, I've used many, and this is not one of those poorly designed products. So Apple, props to you, keep up the great design work, and I cannot wait to see what you do with future iPad Pro iterations. Oh, and also rose gold, my first rose gold iOS device ever. Downright beautiful. Okay, so moving on to number 3, and this easily applies to previous iPad Pro models, but I put it on the list because it's still important to me. Speakers are still just as impressive. Take a listen. Alright, so what you just experienced where 4 onboard speakers on one tablet. And honestly, this is kind of the norm moving forward, so I'm not going to say this is unique to the iPad Pro line in general, but I'm just glad Apple is taking audio seriously. I mean, look at the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. We finally have stereo in there. So between the speakers on the iPhone 7 and speakers on the iPad Pro, it's just nice to see Apple moving in that more of like a premium audio direction. Okay, but will this replace the need for headphones? That's completely up to you, because don't forget, this does have a headphones jack, as shocking as it is. But really, I never ever see myself really using headphones on my iPad Pro, because the speakers are just so damn satisfying. Number 4, and this is a big one, don't mock me, the cameras. This is basically an iPhone 7 blown up. And that, my friends, is a very good thing. So you're gonna get all those fancy iPhone 7 specs. You're not gonna get portrait mode on here, unfortunately. That would have been really nice. But if you take that iPhone 7, blow it up, and picture the possibilities with having the convenience of such a large display, then creatives like myself will realize how big of a deal that is. Because yes, I realize it's so easy to mock the iPad as a camera. Doing this in public is kind of ridiculous, I'm not gonna lie. But I mean, again, having such a large screen, I think does make a significant difference, especially if you put this on a tripod. Because don't forget, this shoots some pretty kick-ass 4K video. So to have that, I mean, that's kind of a big deal in my eyes, and I will be demonstrating the cameras more in detail in future videos. But today I just had to mention, again, this is basically an iPhone 7 in iPad Pro form, and I love it for that. Number 5, the Apple Pencil is now even faster, and this is primarily thanks to the introduction of the ProMotion display. So this is why the ProMotion is so important to me, not only because it's smooth as hell, but it quite literally cuts the latency of the Apple Pencil in half. We're talking from 40 milliseconds down to 20 milliseconds. Now, is that a big deal to everyone? Probably not. But the fact that the Apple Pencil is even more fast and more accurate than ever, that means we're getting closer and closer to that, pencil to paper ratio. And that goes a long way. It really does. And trust me, there is a difference. Open up an app like Adobe Sketch that doesn't support the ProMotion display, and then open up something like Apple Notes or Procreate, and you will see a substantial difference. Now, if you already have the previous iPad Pro, I'm not gonna say run out and buy this for that alone, but if you do buy this, that's a nice bonus to keep in mind. Again, you're cutting your latency in half. And as far as I'm concerned, at least according to what I've done my research on, I'm not sure this is completely accurate, but the Apple Pencil, as of today, is 1 millisecond faster than the Surface Pen. So, just something to keep in mind. Number 6, and I'm gonna read this word for word because I worded this carefully for a reason. App selection for creatives continues to be untouched by its competition. iPad is the tablet to use for creative individuals. And I'm talking about apps for photo editing, digital art and sketching, video editing, 3D modeling, and even productivity apps like the Office Suite and iWork. Nobody can disagree with that. I mean, unless you're talking about the Surface Pro, which is a completely different tablet than the iPad Pro, because that's an actual, fully fledged operating system. However, talking about tablets specifically, nothing even comes close to the iPad and just iOS in general. I mean, iOS is kind of like the go-to OS for creatives like myself and you. And finally, number 7, this is kind of my way of cheating, but I'm gonna mention it anyway because, well, I haven't used it myself, but I'm just gonna assume it's amazing. And that is iOS 11. iOS 11 is gonna make your iPad Pro more pro than ever. Okay, so unfortunately, like I said, I have not used iOS 11 myself yet, but I will be very soon. I promise, you have my word. As soon as that public beta comes out, I will be installing it on here. I mean, with the introduction of something like note scanning built in, I think that goes a long way. We will have an actual dock on the bottom, which makes this more like a Mac, which I just think is incredible. Multitasking is completely reimagined. The new control center is more accessible. So overall, iOS 11 is going to be a huge update for creatives and those looking to be more productive, coming from iOS 10. It's going to be a big update, especially for the iPad. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I got to say this real quick. iOS 11 for iPhone users, yeah, it's going to be nice. It doesn't look that exciting. But if you have an iPad, you will definitely benefit from the new features, new updates, speed enhancements, and all that stuff. But also keep this in mind, if you do get the new iPad Pro, it has an A10X Fusion chip. This means that you're going to get the best possible experience with iOS 11. Okay, so this basically means you're just going to be working faster, especially with things like multitasking. So there's my list. 7 things I like about the iPad Pro 10.5. Now, of course, my list doesn't stop there. I had to very carefully list 7 things that I think are worth mentioning today, but you guys gotta take my word for it. This thing is an incredible device and definitely my favorite iPad to date. It is that good. And despite the screen increase going from 9.7 to 10.5, which is actually a good thing, it doesn't really feel too large because you gotta keep in mind, the bezel is 50% thinner now. And one final reminder, if you need to convince yourself to get the new iPad Pro, just go to an Apple store and experience a ProMotion display for yourself. It really is that impressive. But hey, you know what? If you are perfectly happy with your current iPad Pro, then don't upgrade. Save your money and spend that money on accessories that could possibly enhance your creative experience, like the Apple Pencil. You need to have an Apple Pencil, in my opinion, to fully experience what the iPad Pro has to offer, especially with iOS 11 right around the corner. So guys, that's it. Let me know, what are your favorite things about the iPad Pro 10.5, or with that said, the iPad Pro 12.9? Either one works. Personally, I'm a fan of this model. The 12.9 is nice. I have it right over there. I use it occasionally. But this is so much more portable. So guys, thanks for watching. Again, let me know your favorite things about this, and I will see you next time. Peace.